system that manages the this thing. So of course the owner can look at all the private keys, and they do the transactions on your behalf. You do the transactions on the wallet, they do the transactions on the blockchain. So literally you don't actually access the blockchain directly. It is like an interface to the blockchain. So that is what it is. If you don't want to use that, then you can use your own HTLC scripts that you can do, or you can write the stick script and those things that you can do. So there are these logs, as it is HTL, that is hash and time logs. Two types of logs are there, hash logs and time logs. Hash log is basically require the intended recipient of funds to provide the correct secret phrase in order to claim them. So that's what is the first case, used to enforce time-bound, required the intended recipients of funds to provide the correct secret phrase in order to claim them. Right? The time logs are basically intended recipient of funds to claim them before expiry. When a certain time exceeds, then you lose that this thing, right? Otherwise, the original sender of the funds can claim a refund. So this BTC amount is there. He places a block on the funds, knowing the secret phrase, and sets an expiry of 6 blocks. After 6 blocks are created, and if the person doesn't claim this transaction fee or claim this transaction amount, the amount comes back to me. That's what is returned, right? So it is sent to B. Now, what happens in this thing is this person B has to enter the current secret phrase, and he has to unlock the thing and unlock the funds and claims within the 6 blocks. Then it is possible, right? It's a success scenario, right? Refund scenario, the BTC amount places a lock on the funds for 6 blocks, but within the 6 blocks are created, this person is not able to enter the secret phrase correctly. So what happens? The BTC amount is refunded back to A. So this is what happens in HTLC logging, right? Now we come to the interesting concept of atomic swap. Now atomic swap, what is happening is Alice has some ethers on Ethereum. Bob has some bitcoins in blockchain. Now they want to swap. They want to exchange. So of course, as we understand, if they exchange, how do they exchange? They need to have accounts also on both the accounts, right? Alice also need to have a Bitcoin account, and Bob also has to have an Ethereum account. So both of them have Bitcoin accounts and blockchain accounts. Ethereum accounts and Bitcoin accounts. But they want to swap Ethereums with, or maybe let us say Alice has more ethers and Bob has more Bitcoins. But Bob wants more ethers and Alice wants more Bitcoins. They don't want to go to an exchange. If they go to an exchange, very easy to do the transaction, but they don't want to go to the exchange, or they don't want to go to escrow account. Escrow account is a third party account, right? So they can be this thing, right? So Eon both blockchains to lock the funds, right? So the atomic swap is Alice transferring ethers to Bob, and Bob is transferring B bitcoins to Alice. The result is swap can happen. Now they both agree again also. They both also agree that so many ethers will mean so many bitcoins, right? But the transaction is Bob is sending so many Alice is sending so many ethers to Bob, and Bob is sending so many bitcoins to Alice. Bob sends bitcoins on Alice blockchain. Alice sends ethers on Bob's Ethereum chain, right? So both have Ethereum and blockchain accounts. So that is what actually happens. So A has an Ethereum amount which has to be going to B, and B has a Bitcoin account which has to come to A. So these things have to happen. So first I store the Ethereum amount here. Here I store the BTC amount. This is called an escrow account, and the escrow account will swap both the things or return it. So this is usually happens. So these are costs in transactions. Now, if you look at the conference call for papers on international conference on cryptocurrencies, blockchain and cryptocurrencies, ICBC, you have a separate section or a workshop going on cross-chain transactions. There is the separate section going on, cross-chain transactions. So cross-chain transactions can be done as a non-atomic transfer, can be done through centralized exchanges. Non-atomic transfer is I convert my money and send it to my own account. So that kind of thing I can do. But I can do it through decentralized exchanges, and I can do a central escrow service. The escrow service can be centralized and decentralized. So that's what it is. So what is the problem in these things? When you do all these things, there is every time you convert the amount, there is a transaction fee. Now you want, let us say, you have dollars and you want to buy some, let us say yen, Japanese yen you want to buy. You have dollars. Now dollars, if you are in Japan, you can go and give dollars in some exchange, and you will get yen very easy. But if you are, let us say, you are in India, now what you have to do? You have to first buy. You have to convert the dollars into rupees, and then you have to pay rupees and buy yen, right? Or the fellow will try to sit and give you an exchange rate, very good exchange rate between dollars to yen directly, but then he will say this much is what I will charge. So that is the kind of thing that happens, and then you actually have to do that part. So that is something that that will be an interesting thing. So just 1 minute. Yeah. So the point that here is more, you have a transaction cost. So when you are wanting to convert dollars to this thing, so he knows that you will have to send dollars to rupees and rupees to yen. So he will take all the charges, and basically the transaction fee is what is required. So here also, when you want to convert from Bitcoin to Ethers or Ethers to Bitcoin, there are two types of, when you go to centralized exchange, you need to make a transaction fee. So though they do it very easily because you are paying them Bitcoins and you are asking for Ethers, they do the conversion rate and they charge the transaction fee and they charge their own fee. And then they give you as an exchange. So the transaction fee is double. One is on the blockchain transaction fee they will have to charge, and one is on the transaction fee to do this process. Also they have to do that, right? So there may be some points of failures. The transaction here may not come through. The transaction there may not come through. Your money is stuck somewhere in between. The exchange is trying to revive it. Finally, after some days, all these transactions are clarified. Right, so and then you will have to trust the this thing because your private key is not with them. But if you don't want these transactions to be known by anybody, then you will need to have what is called you have to do it differently. So that's what is the question. So there's a central which is there, which is the third party. So funds are sent across chains after deducting a fee, and then custodial reserve, the third party doesn't send them. So you send it to some wallet. And you're using that wallet, but the wallet says I didn't receive, and whom will you fight with? So that's a big issue, right? But otherwise, A sends the Ethereum amount to escrow, and B sends the this thing to the both ways. You have this fellow escrow account deducts a transaction fee separation, and then the amounts are swapped between that. So that is one option. If you are using a centralized exchange like Binance, as I told you, so you can directly first you can pay money Indian rupees, and then you can get some Ethers or either of these things. So there are variety of these things. Binance is one good exchange that you can look at. Then you have Bitcoin exchange, and then you want to send it to somewhere else. So you can select the network and you can share the wallet address, right? So this is what it is. So you can select the coin if you want to deposit some crypto with somebody. Right? So you select the address of that gentleman, and then you select the network and you select the Bitcoin currency, right? So what happens? Obviously, the deposit is done. So on the Binance chain, so the wallet address is there, address to the shared to the receiver, and the receiver will send the crypto at this address. So this crypto address is sent, right? Now withdrawing the crypto, when you want to receive that amount, so now what you do, select the coin which you want to send, enter the wallet address to which the crypto is to be sent. Address is shown in slide 2. This is the address, right? So that is the same address which is put here. Select withdrawal network, the network from which you want to select it, and you get the this thing. withdraw the amount. So those details you enter, okay, and the wallet address is automatically matched to the corresponding network, and obviously the amount is there, and you withdraw this amount, right? So depositing the crypto, so the Bitcoin network to ATM network. So now on the ATM network, you send this wallet address, and then you try to deposit, right? Then you can here you see that the ATM network is used. Ethereum Bitcoin on the Ethereum network, you are swapping, right? You are transferring, or what you say, you are converting that transaction onto that, right? And you deposit the crypto on the Bitcoin network. So here you see on the Bitcoin network, so that amount is being transmitted and it goes to the other side. So this whole process is there. So finally, on the receiver's wallet address, he receives that amount, and sometimes they are paid in this thing USDT, US dollars tethers. So then you can take the amount and you can use it. So this is how you can do it. So the solution is escrows, P2P, interactive, and Provorol. They ensure no single party ever hold both cryptocurrencies at the same time. So it's like give from one hand and receive from ek haath se do, that kind of thing. That's the thing. Otherwise, you can also write HTLC and smart contract. So this is where these scripts are presently working and active and available in what is called what you say. Presently available blockchains. Most of the blockchains are agreeing to these HTLCs and smart contracts to run across blockchains. On one blockchain is understood, HTLC scripting working on this thing, smart contracts working on Ethereum is okay. But across multiple blockchains, you have scripts coming up. So you have a dual escrow mechanism, which is called the atomic swap, right? What happens? First coin is on Bitcoin, second coin is on Ethereum. So no need to trust any third party like Binance is the network on which the Bitcoin came, and then it was converted to Ethereum and sent back. Ethereum came, converted to Bitcoin and sent back, right? So these two happened. These two transactions simultaneously happened. So both the receivers received the Ethereum and Bitcoin currency at the same time. But here in this atomic swap scenario, one is on Bitcoin and the other is on Ethereum. Both have Ethereum addresses, both have Bitcoin addresses, right? So Alice has two addresses, one on Bitcoin, one on Ether. Bob has two addresses, one on Bitcoin and one on Ethereum, right? So, but then I have more Bitcoins and the other person has more Ethers. So the swap has to happen. So I have more Bitcoins, so I want more Ethers. I have more Ethers, but I want more Bitcoin. So swap. So the conversion rate, these things are discussed between these two people initially, but then they write a script so that the script is handled. So Alice owns Ethers, Bob owns Bitcoins. Protocol succeeds if the atomic swap is successful. Alice gets Bitcoin and Bob gets Ethereum swap, right? So somebody who has Bitcoins will get Ether, somebody who has Ethers will get Bitcoin. So there's a swap. And the protocol fails, Alice gets back Ethers, Bob gets Bitcoin. So there is no harm, right? No money lost, no money gain, no problem. Swap happens, no problem. Swap is protocol succeeds, swap happens. Protocol fails, everybody gets back their own currency, right? Transactions in case of protocol success, Bitcoin logged on Bitcoin blockchain, Ethereum logged on Ethereum blockchain, then unlocks Bitcoin for Alice and unlocks information for Bob to claim funds. So Bob gets some information to claim funds, but the Bitcoins are unlocked. And unlocks Ethereum for Bob on Ethereum blockchain, and finally the transaction is complete, right? So sometimes when there is an information here where this fellow gets it, but he's not able to claim, then there is a problem. So this is something which is there. But she also cannot get it if he is not able to get money. She'll also not be able to get money. That is how it happens. What happens? They exchange some basic information initially. So they don't know who they are. They only know the addresses. They may know the public and private addresses on public addresses on both the networks. That is what they know. Each of them know. So and then they agree on the exchange rate. They know that if I am giving so many Bitcoins, you are going to give me so many Ethereums. That is what they have. The addresses they want to receive funds on. I have a Bitcoin address, but I want to receive Ethers. I have to give an Ether address. I have Ethers, but I want to receive one Bitcoin address. So I have to give So I have to give both the addresses. Bitcoin address and Ether address of both the parties are given. And there is a time agreement they try to keep. And then Bob shares a secret and shares the hash of the secret with Alice, right? Some secret is shared between them. So first you have you create a smart contract or an HTLC on the locking mechanism. Bob locks BTC on Bitcoin blockchain because he has more Bitcoin. Ether locks Ethereum, ETHs on Ethers on Ethereum blockchain. Then the redeeming, Alice redeems the Bitcoin by revealing a secret, right? She tells some secret. Along with the code, she sends the secret, right? So she redeems the Bitcoin. So once the secret is received by Bob, Bob reveals the secret or explains that secret and then redeems the ETH. If the transaction fails, Bob is refunded the Bitcoins and Alice is refunded the Ethereum. So these are 4 steps as you can look at. There is a P2WSH, there is a witness script hash that I was talking about. So P2SH script or pay to witness script hash address, right? So these are simple functions: operation if, operation SHA-256 of the hash of the secret. So this hash of the secret should be verified with the hash 160 of Bob's public. If this is verified, then the transaction can be done. If this is not there, else you wait for 9,000 milliseconds or something, some time 9,000 units. Sequence verify. If this is not correct, then you drop it, right? And then you end if, right? So this is what actually the script means, right? So please remember Bob's public key and the hash of the secret. The hash of the secret is going and Bob's public key is going. If these two are verified to equal, then you send the money to this address. If it is not going on happen till 9,000 units of time, then you send it to this address. So the transaction is failed. Transaction is successful, money goes to this address. Transaction is failure, money goes to this address. Then in a similar time, during the same time, Bob is doing on Ethereum. There is a smart contract which is written, so it's slightly different. You see that the hash of this thing is a stored hash value, pay Alice. If current time is greater than timestamp, then you pay Bob. That is, you refund it to Bob. So on redeem script by Alice, what she does is she publicly reveals the secret, right? EC9E9, this is the secret, this is there. And she says, I am reading from Alice, and this is the contact address where you have to send it. And then this is the secret. So this secret, once he reveals, then you will get the money. So send ETH from the contact address to Alice and destroy the smart contract. Once this is done, you destroy the smart contract. So you send the ETH, this is the contact address, and it goes to Alice, and then you destroy the smart contract. So in redeem script, Bob on the block on the Bitcoin, so you have this secret which is revealed. This secret is with the public key of Bitcoin of Bob, and then a result 1 is available on the stack. So once this is successful, then the money is sent to the address that is discussed by this thing. So this is what happened. Now the interesting part of this whole episode is that we have successfully made a transaction. Now the point is there is a privacy issue which we are trying to dig out of it. So what is happening is there is an analysis of atomic swap transactions on both blockchains. Now only thing is there is a script. The script can be easily identified from the transaction. So whenever the script is made, whenever you see some codes like this, some of these codes like this, you know that this is a P2SH script, and P2SH script is making an atomic swap transaction. So only thing is you get an address, but this address belongs to which blockchain? We don't know, right? It may be Ethereum, or it may be Monero, or it may be Dogecoin, or it can be, there are so many Ripple or Hash or Zcash, or there are multiple options. So but okay, if there is a chance that you are able to identify this kind of a transaction on 2 blockchains, right? One transaction like this and one transaction like this on 2 blockchains, addresses, somewhere the addresses are matching, right? So then you will be able to decipher those addresses, and then in those 2 blockchains you will have identified these 2 similar kind of addresses again. Finally, when you are able to analyze these 4 addresses, you are able to get the 2 addresses of one person and 2 addresses of one person on 2 different blockchains, and then that becomes a privacy issue that these 2 are making a transaction. So the success of atomic swaps are happening, and people are without a third party able to mutually trust each other, trust the blockchain that the script will run correctly, and then the money will be transferred, and then it will be successful. So because of that option, as we see, we can understand that these things can take place. So that is the beauty of these atomic swap transactions. And then of course there are a couple of papers on these atomic swap transactions which you can try to look at, and then you can dig into the security issues, privacy issues. You can also come up with different mechanisms of how atomic swap can be done. You can come up with some coding mechanisms, and then you can try to build algorithms, build techniques, build solutions. Right? That's what you can do. The easier option is to go to a third party, but the third party will log all these transactions, will charge a transaction. But this atomic swap mechanism has been created in such a way that it is a foolproof, in the sense that the transaction will not get through unless and until both the keys are exchanged, and then only it is possible. The secrets are exchanged, and then only it is possible to unlock both the scripts, and they will happen at the same time, and respective people will either receive the money correctly, or because the script fails, the money will be with the respective individuals. So that is something that we can try, and then maybe if it fails, you have to try it out again. So that is something that you can try to look at. So this is where I will stop, and maybe if you have different questions, we can take it up.
Thank you. Recording such a wonderful, very interesting, and such a nice presentation. We hope that you must have got several questions in the chat box. If there are, then please go ahead. Otherwise,
there are some.
Yeah, please.
Okay. Can I assume that smart contracts is a type of intermediaries, such as government or any bank, who exist inside smart contract? Smart contracts can be written by any individual, and then it can be any agency, it can be any vendor, it can be any organization, it can be any society or something like that. It can be two individuals also who can write a smart contract, and they trust that the code is working, and they believe, and then they use the smart contract to make transactions, to make exchanges, as I explained. So that is something that you can try. De-anonymize. Anonymity is a word that you understand. What does de-anonymize mean is the question. Anonymity means you are not known, anonymous. Nobody knows about you. De-anonymize means people are trying to identify more about you. Now, there was a time when if some individual name is there, no information could be found about him, right? But then today, if you know your name, and maybe if you type my name, there is so much of information that is available about me. Okay, somewhere or the other, if you are able to get my telephone number, you'll be able to get my Aadhaar card, you will be able to get my this thing. If you know my mobile number, in fact, and if you are a good intelligent hacker or coder, you can get my exact physical location also, right, where I am currently staying, because the telephone number will tell where my mobile phone is and where I am, right, because my mobile phone will always be with me, something like that. So that's a kind of struggle that we have. So de-anonymization is possible. So blockchain gives you anonymity. I told you distributed ledger technology or decentralized ledger technology. The entire thing is public, the ledger is public, but the user's name is not known. So who is the user is not known, because only the address defines him, the public address defines him, right? So, but then we can get more information about him, and then that is what makes him de-anonymized. Sir, the blockchain can be used to improve network privacy as compared to other privacy preservation model. I think this escrow words का meaning क्या हुआ sir हिंदी में? Okay, escrow क्या है? Exchange करते ना? Escrow का शब्द का meaning वही होगा. क्या बोलते हैं? escrow is basically is like a third party और एक agreement जैसा है जो आप किसी के साथ करते हैं ना, एक समझौता के जैसा है escrow. तो escrow account मतलब दो लोग पैसे ट्रांसफर करने, मान लीजिए आप जाके उनके पास पैसे रखेंगे और वो व्यक्ति जो दूसरा व्यक्ति कुछ और आपको सामान देना है तो वो सामान वहां रखेगा, आप जाके सामान लेके आएंगे और वो अपना पैसा लेके जाएंगे. दोनों एक साथ आपस में ट्रस्ट नहीं करते तो तीसरे व्यक्ति पे आप भरोसा करते हैं तो उस व्यक्ति को आप एस्क्रो बोल देंगे, जिसके साथ आप समझौता करेंगे. आप बोलेंगे मैं पैसा रखूंगा, वो सामान रखेगा, आप मेरे को सामान दोगे और उसको पैसे दोगे, ये आपकी जिम्मेदारी है ना. somebody like that, एक हाथ से लेके एक हाथ से देगा तो वो उसको उस व्यक्ति को आप एस्क्रो कहेंगे, है ना. तो दैट इज समथिंग. ठीक है, समझ में आया. How can a blockchain and quantum computers? Is there any role of lattice band cryptography in blockchain? Here it is elliptic cryptography, as I think some of the faculty would have discussed that. But quantum cryptography, lattice-based cryptography can come up, but that cryptography is not definitely not necessarily to be used here. The power of quantum computing may be used to get 51% of the attack power on blockchain. That's something which can be happening, right? Does escrow service support two different blockchain networks? Very easily, I showed you, right? मैंने दिखाया ना, escrow service is like a third party which is sitting in between. He has dollars with him, he has Japanese yen with him. आपसे डॉलर्स लेगा, आपको येन दे देगा, किसी को डॉलर्स चाहिए तो उससे येन लेगा और उसको डॉलर्स दे देगा. Same is the case for like a Binance is a simple account where in fact all the rates are shown also. In fact the exchange rates are also shown. तो आप क्लिक करेंगे, मेरा इतना बिटकॉइंस निकाल दो, मेरे को इतना I need so much of ethers, I want to spend so much of bitcoins. It converts those number. Let us say you want to give 2 bitcoins and get more ethers. So you say 2 bitcoins will get you more ethers because ethers cost is less and the bitcoins cost is more. If you give 2 ethers, you may get some 30 or 300 ethers, right? So what happens immediately? That many ethers get transferred to your account. Where is it? It is actually happening in that transactions on that respective blockchains, but it's displayed on your interface of that Binance exchange, right? Which is a wallet for you, right? Like you can get that on Block Explorer also. Maybe a suggestion will be try to set up Ethereum, try to set up Bitcoin Core, try to set up Hyperledger. These 3 things were taught to you. Truffle, Ganache, those things were taught to you. Solidity was taught to you. So please try hands-on, right? That's the best thing to do. Secondly, maybe try to create these things, right? That's the most important thing. How can we prevent identity theft? जैसे आपके Facebook accounts बनेंगे और some of these things are possible. So you can't stop identity theft, but you have to be careful. You keep changing your private keys or you have to keep that secure. Software wallet, hardware wallet, both can be stolen and there is always a danger. So be very careful. If you suddenly realize that some wallet is stolen, immediately ensure and intimate that exchange and then try to move your resources to a secure location. So preventing theft. Block to block overheads are more. That too in decentralized environment not seems good if block size is very less than 1 MB. Yes, block overheads is not our consideration, but transaction fee should bother us because block overhead is not our the overhead that I'm talking about is not the computational overhead, the financial overhead, because people will always ask how much. Maybe there is a slight time of transaction being created and transaction value getting stored and all that overhead is there. I agree with you. But the more important overhead is the transaction fee or the cost to maintain a private blockchain, right? So these are things that you need to do. I will share the PPT, no problem. Professor Aparajita Ojha will put it on the canvas and you can get it from there. Can I search customer names by his address? Customer name you can't search. If somebody reveals, only you can search. Because usually we put our is on public, right? So that is something which we can do. But somebody doesn't want to share his public address also, should be perfectly fine. So unless and until your friend tells you his address, you can't transfer money to him. Unless and until you tell your address to your friend, he can't transfer money to you. But you don't have to put it on the public notice board and say, yeah, these are things where you can try to attack me or something like that, right? Can I know who is miner by his address? No. Miners connect to the block and they add the blockchain. It is displayed. His name is displayed. Maybe you can get a little bit of details about that organization because the pool name is mentioned. Pool is usually a group of miners who have joined together to solve and add a block. So you can get the details. That is what I can suggest. But I don't think you can get the actual miner. You can only get his company's details or something like that. Yeah. Thank you so much. I have finished my part of the questions. Apajita ma'am, any questions that you have got?
Let me check. And there are two. What is Bitcoin locking script? Difference between unlocking script? This is the question.
Okay. Yeah, Bitcoin locking script is like smart contract which you have studied in Ethereum. Locking script is I am making a transaction and I want my friend to actually get the correct value. So I lock it and I tell my friend the secret by which he can unlock it, right? So the secret will be shared some other mechanism, like how your key generation is done and keys are shared in a different, key distribution is done in a different mechanism in the public key and private key systems in cryptography. In a similar sense, you do that. So the locking script is to lock the things so that if the person is not able to reveal the key, the value, maybe in a certain time or not reveal it correctly, then my money should be with me only. Whenever I make a transaction is successful. That is what is blockchain, right? But I can add a script, I can add a code, I can put some conditions on my transaction. The transaction will be successful if a condition is met. That is, my friend gives me a current secret code. If he gives it, he will get the money. If he doesn't give it, money will come back to him. If he is not able to give in certain time, the money will come back. So that is what is scripting. I will share the slides so you can read those slides on what is called HTLC script, smart contracts, and the usual script that is there in the blockchain.
PDF नहीं दिया, कल वाला परसों नहीं दिया वाला, कितना सा PDF मारेगा, PDF नहीं दिया वो, मनी माधुकर नहीं दी थी PDF.
Yeah, minor is unknown for us. Only organization name is shown as minor. Yes, organization name. As I showed you in some of the slides, the pool names are the miners' names. Earlier, miners' names used to come. Now, single miner cannot hack a system. Hence, multiple people get together and form a pool of miners. So their name only is displayed. Yeah, Bitcoin is legal in India or not? Bitcoin is legal. It is not a legal tender. When you talk about legal tender, it is 500 rupee note and 2000 rupee note, 100 rupee note. They are legal tenders. 1000 rupee note is not a legal tender. So Bitcoin is not illegal, but at the same time, Bitcoin is not legal. So you can buy and sell Bitcoins or any cryptocurrency. But shortly, government may come up with a policy that you have to inform how many Bitcoins you are having. So that is the problem. Government wants to know how much resource is there with you, how much income is there with you, where you are able to buy, why you are able to buy, and all that. So that will be a question because in other countries, as of now, that kind of a possibility is not there. But in India, they may come up with a guideline. So you please follow central government. Dr. Nirmala Sitharaman, her views. You can read through last month, I think. In November ending and December, there was a lot of discussion going on cryptocurrencies and how India should address. India cannot ignore. If India ignores, we are behind. We are left behind. But we have to. That's why I want to challenge you. That's why I want to encourage you. Please get into these scripting. Please get into the setting up of these things. So please do it, right. So that's something that is. Mount Gox was a company which was like an exchange like Binance, but then they lost their money because Even Binance, after some time, they can say that I lost all my money. Actually, they can sell all the resources, convert it into dollars, and run away. So you are trusting, it is your lookout. So because there is no central agency behind, there is no FBI or anything that will come. Of course, governments will act when the money is huge, but then like how a bank goes, what do you say? Uh, it goes, what do you say? Uh, I'm not getting the correct word. Hindi mein diwala nikal gaya, so we can't do anything. So that's what I need to say. Yeah, basically people hide money, hide their transactions. They want to avoid tax. Why government wants to know the Bitcoin transactions? Because they want to ensure that income tax is levied on you. So those who want to escape income tax being levied is what they want to use Bitcoin. So this is the thing. Two interests for India, as I see. People are looking Bitcoin more as a cryptocurrency more as a stock market. This thing. Today I buy this much, tomorrow it will become this much, then I will sell like that. I will earn few lakhs of rupees in no time. That is one option. The second option people are looking at is if I store the money, it is like storing it in what is that? Switzerland, Swiss bank. Swiss bank accounts are not revealed to anybody, right? So Bitcoin accounts are also not revealed to anybody. So people want to store money like that. So that is another option. So for us, what I suggest is there are so many exciting things like atomic swap and confidentiality issues and all they are going on, and that is so much. So it's so exciting, and smart contracts can be built. A lot of corruption can be avoided. But I don't know if we students and faculty don't rise up to the occasion, we cannot build a robust system in India, and then we fail. How to determine the cost of Bitcoin? Join any exchange and you can immediately know the cost of the Bitcoin. How a person convert black money into Bitcoin if his identity is revealed? Identity is not revealed in Bitcoin, hence there is no problem. But if he is using a exchange, then he has to do KYC, and if he does KYC, then his transactions are known to the government. We can wash out Bitcoin through Coinbase. There is no Coinbase. Whatever money you come through Coinbase, also government wants to charge the income tax. That's where you have to work out, right? So how to determine the cost of Bitcoin? I have told. Join any exchange. You can create an account. It's free as long as you don't do any transactions. They won't charge you anything. You can know the rates, you can know how the rates are fluctuating and all. I checked with Coinbase, I put some pictures, right? So you can look at that. Yeah, my questions are over.
So, thank you so much from all the coordinators, including you, for giving us this opportunity to listen to you. It was really a pleasure. You made it so interesting. Everybody was asking you questions.
Yeah.